Hello and welcome to News 11. I'm Bethany Stewart.
And I'm Nicole Robinson. Coming up, we'll have information on a Georgia proposed smoking ban.
Plus, road rage rears its ugly head again. News 11 starts now. Former President Clinton is back in the hospital. He's undergoing a procedure to remove fluid and scar tissue that developed after his quadruple bypass last fall. Christy Feely has more.
Former President Bill Clinton's procedure is expected to last between 1 and 3 hours.
This is an elective procedure. This is not an emergency. This is being done to assure that he is able to continue to maintain a highly active lifestyle.
Doctors say it is a rare complication of his quadruple bypass surgery in September. Tissue near the lung became irritated, causing fluid to build up, compressing the bottom part of his left lung.
Based on my experience, which is in excess of 6,000 roughly similar cases, I've seen a handful of these, I'd say, less than 10.
In the procedure, called a decortication, doctors will most likely make a small incision and insert a video-assisted scope between the ribs to drain the fluid and remove the scar tissue. Mr. Clinton's spirits were high the day before surgery at a golf tournament organized by Greg Norman to raise money for tsunami relief. It was Clinton's second time at this golf course.
The first time I went to the hospital because I fell off Greg's step and tore my quadricep. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm way ahead. At least I get to play before I go to the hospital this time.
Now, the doctors say he'll be in the hospital up to 10 days. Once recovered, he can resume his normal activities. In Washington, I'm Christy Feig.
Georgia parents paying child support might see a change in how payments are calculated. Tuesday, the Georgia House Judiciary Committee passed House Bill 221. The bill would call for judges to consider the gross income of both parents when deciding child support payment. And it would also require an increase or decrease in payments based on the amount of time parents spend with their children. If the law is approved, it is scheduled to go into effect next March.
The Senate has approved a statewide smoking ban. If it passes the House of Representatives and is signed into law by Sonny Perdue, almost all businesses will not allow smoking. In a 44-7 vote, the state Senate voted for the bill under this plan. A person caught smoking could face a $50 to $100 misdemeanor fee, and the business could face up to a $500 fine.
A case of politically motivated road rage in Florida. A woman says she was run off the road for having a Bush Cheney bumper sticker on her car. Mark Wilson has the story.
It was a harrowing afternoon ride through South Tampa streets as 34-year-old Michelle Fernandez was driving south on Armenia Tuesday with her 2 small children in her SUV.
And I'm just getting away from him right now, but I'm shaking like a leaf. He literally purposely just almost ran me off the road.
Fernandez has a Bush Cheney bumper sticker on her car, and she says when the suspect, 31-year-old Nathan Winkler, pulled up beside her, he started honking and swerving towards her after holding up a sign pointed at her that read, "Never forget Bush's illegal oil war murdered thousands in Iraq." At one time, you can hear on the 911 call, she says he cut her off, got out of the car, and came towards her.
Look, he just pulled over next to me. Look, he's stopping the car. Ridiculous, this man. I got, what? I was running. I mean, he's running after my car. No. What a idiot. I mean, he's a fanatic. He's in the middle of the street.
That was remarkable. She turned out to be an excellent witness.
Tampa police say Fernandez did everything right, even got Winkler's tag number.
And now I'm turning right on Kennedy. He's at my car. I gotta go. Now I'm going north. I'm on Kennedy. He's following me. He's gonna ram my car.
He eventually backed off, and police found him a short time later at his house.
When they first started talking to him, he said, you know, the other driver had flipped me off, and that made me angry. Then he also told the officers, because he was angry, that's why I chased her.
At that point, police arrested him for aggravated stalking. a third-degree felony.
New developments in the murder of 2 people related to a federal judge in Chicago. Police tell CNN a man who shot and killed himself yesterday near Milwaukee left a suicide note claiming responsibilities for the deaths of Judge Joan Lefkoe's husband and mother. They say the note found in the man's car included details about the killings not released to the public.
Police sources have confirmed to CNN that the man who left a suicide note in the car in West Allis, Wisconsin, not only claimed responsibility for killing Judge Lefkoe's mother and husband, but also gave details of the case that were previously not made public. Our sources are identifying the man as Bart Ross. His car registration indicates that he lived on Chicago's north side, and right now there are many Chicago police in the neighborhood working the case. We've learned the suicide note indicated a judgment had cost Ross his house, his job, and family, and that Ross had filed in a lawsuit in Judge Lefkoe's court, and that she had later dismissed his case. At the scene in West Allis, Wisconsin, the Chicago Tribune is reporting investigators found 300 .22 caliber shell casings in the vehicle. 22 caliber shell casings were the same caliber found in Judge Lefkoe's home. It was on Monday of last week, Judge Joan Humphrey Lefkoe came home to find 2 main people in her life shot to death in the basement. Her husband, attorney Michael Lefkoe, and her mother, 89-year-old Donna Humphrey. Now, as of yesterday, our sources were telling us that they had pretty much hit a wall in the investigation because forensic evidence that they had collected at the crime scene, DNA, as well as a fingerprint, they tried to make a match between that evidence and information in national crime databases, but there were no matches. Today, with the stopping of the vehicle in which Bart Ross apparently committed suicide, this investigation has obviously taken an entirely new turn. In Chicago, I'm Keith Oppenheim reporting.
The teenager who has accused Michael Jackson of molesting him testified that he once thought of the pop singer as the coolest guy in the world. Miguel Marquez has more.
Michael Jackson's accuser on the stand, face-to-face with the world-renowned pop star.
Could you tell us how you found facing your accuser, please?
I'm sorry, I'm under gag order.
In the courtroom, as the 15-year-old took the oath to tell the truth, Jackson sat bolt upright.
He did look at Michael Jackson. I think you saw that. And Michael Jackson looked at him.
Prosecutors have charged Jackson with plying the boy with alcohol and molesting him 4 times and conspiring to cover it all up. Jackson says he's not guilty. His accuser once called Jackson the coolest guy in the world. Today, the 15-year-old commanded the world's attention.
He doesn't appear to be relaxed and calm, but he doesn't appear overly nervous.
The boy testified that on his first day at Neverland in 2000, while still suffering the effects of nearly terminal cancer, Jackson suggested he and his brother spend the night in his bedroom. The boy said his parents allowed it, and the following night, he, his brother, Jackson, his kids, Paris and Prince, and a man named Frank Tyson, went to Jackson's room to watch movies. Instead, said the accuser, Tyson got online and surfed adult sites on the internet for 15 to 30 minutes. His short testimony so far seemed effective.
Remember when he had to scoot up to the mic and he said okay really loud into the mic? Jurors, just spontaneous smiles of empathy for him.
The accuser told jurors that Jackson brought he and his siblings to Neverland during the filming of the Martin Bashir documentary, Living with Michael Jackson. And Jackson told him the documentary was the boy's audition for the movies. He also told the court that Jackson instructed him to call him Daddy Michael and to tell Bashir on camera that Jackson was largely responsible for his recovery from cancer. The boy was only on the stand for about an hour before the court date ended, and later today he'll be back on the stand being questioned by the prosecution. Miguel Marquez, CNN, Santa Maria, California.
Coming up on News 11, we'll tell you about this weekend's Azalea Fest.
And we'll have information on another cause for allergies. Stay with us.
Because you believed in me,
I can believe in me.
I can believe in me.
Because you pushed me to be better.
I learned to push myself.
Because you showed me respect.
I respect others.
I respect myself.
To everyone who helped the young men and women of the United States Air Force discover that the greatest force of all is inside of themselves, we thank you. And more importantly,
thank you.
Thank you.
thanks.
They thank you.
Thousands are senselessly killed by people with no criminal record at all. People like you.
There are a lot of real simple things that people can do to protect themselves and their families.
Making sure you have a communications plan with your family is important.
Store water and non-perishable foods for at least 3 days.
Have a flashlight, extra batteries.
Also having, prescription drugs available.
We're talking the simple necessities of life. We're asking America to be ready, and we will be ready.
Learn to protect yourself and your family at ready.gov or call for a free brochure.
If you're looking for some fun and excitement this weekend, look no further than the 2005 Valdosta-Lowndes County Azalea Festival. Started in 2001, the festival attracted nearly 10,000 people over the past few years. The crowds have nearly tripled. The festival celebrates the beauty of the community and allows Valdostans and people from beyond the immediate area to join in the fun. This year's festival kicks off tomorrow night at 7 o'clock with the International Extravaganza on the VSU front lawn. On Saturday and Sunday, the festival will begin at 10 a.m. in Drexel Park with fun for the whole family. For more information, log on to www.azaleafestival.com.
Alarming new findings out of California. Women may greatly increase their chances of getting breast cancer by simply walking into a smoky room. A group of scientists have found the link between the killer is secondhand smoke. Sanjay Gupta has more on this study.
It's far from the final word, but scientists doing research for a reputable environmental advisory group are now ready to report that secondhand smoke causes breast cancer, increasing a woman's risk by up to 90%.
The California report gives the very powerful conclusion that secondhand smoke causes breast cancer. California is a little bit out front on this in being the first, and my judgment is a little more reserved at the moment.
While doctors are still being cautious, what is not in dispute is that secondhand smoke is bad for your health. Now the focus is just how bad. Smoke, whether it comes off the tip of your cigarette or out of your lungs, is linked to 40,000 deaths from heart disease, just about every respiratory disease you can think of, and 3,000 cases of lung cancer every year. In fact, the link between secondhand smoke and lung cancer is so strong, researchers have pinpointed just how much secondhand smoke increases your risk. For example, 20 or more years in the workplace increases your risk by 25%. 30 or more years with a spouse increases your risk by 23%. Or over 20 years of exposure in social settings ups your risk by 26%. Turns out it's a more complicated puzzle when trying to link secondhand smoke to breast cancer. Still, researchers from the California Air Resources Board think they have the data to show a similar cause and effect with breast cancer and say they will submit their data on Monday. They arrived at their conclusions by reviewing existing studies that showed the toxic elements of secondhand smoke in breast tissue. Scientists also found a link between active smoking and breast cancer, although remarkably, that was much weaker.
When you're a smoker, it actually is very toxic to your ovaries, and it reduces the amount of estrogen you have. And estrogen feeds breast cancer. So the theory is, even though the cigarette smoking might be carcinogenic, the low estrogen may be hiding that and not feeding that cancer.
The tobacco industry is far from sold, pointing to the numerous studies that also show no association between breast cancer and secondhand smoke. As many often say, more studies are still needed, but many doctors agree that another piece of the puzzle has fallen into place. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN, New York.
A new bankruptcy bill before Congress would affect the 1.5 million people who seek bankruptcy protection each year. The new bill will keep those who file for bankruptcy from being forgiven of debts, including medical bills and credit cards. Although this new legislation will help creditors recover at least partial debts, opponents say it will be detrimental to single parents, minorities, the elderly, and other low-income households that use bankruptcy as a way out of situations such as job loss or unexpected medical bills.
A homeless man looking for cans in Chicago made a shocking discovery. The man found the body of a toddler in a garbage can. Craig Wall has more on this investigation.
When the 911 call came in about a toddler found in a dumpster, it brought swarms of police to the alley behind the 2200 block of South Sawyer. This man, wearing the green pants, was the one who stumbled across the dead toddler shortly after 3 p.m.
A man picking for
cans in the garbage, came across a bag. He ripped it open, and at that he saw the baby. He went over and had one of the neighbors call the police.
The body, still inside a white garbage bag, was laid in the alley and covered with a sheet. Police are only able to say the victim was a boy, possibly Hispanic, who appeared to be about 3 years old. How he died remains a mystery, as does his identity. Detectives spent several hours canvassing the neighborhood looking for anyone who saw anything suspicious or who might have some clue about who the parents are. Police were hoping some answers might come from a concerned parent calling them about a missing child, but so far there are no reports of a missing boy that might correspond to the victim, indicating this death investigation will likely turn much more serious. Neighbors struggled to understand how anyone could throw a child's body away like it was garbage.
The baby doesn't deserve that. I don't know what would go through their mind that they would do that to their child.
A person that doesn't have no feelings, no heart. Because if that person really had feelings, he wouldn't do anything like that.
It's allergy season again, and many people are feeling the effects of allergies. Come from everywhere, even from cockroaches. A team at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center reports that cockroach allergens are the primary contributor to childhood asthma in the inner city children. Cockroach saliva, fecal material, secretions, and skin can produce these allergic reactions. Reactions can be controlled or eliminated with regular cleaning practices, frequent extermination techniques, and other maintenance methods.
Today's education system will fail unless the gap between how students live and how they learned is bridged, according to the Learning for the 21st Century report. VSU's Educational Technology Training Center, one of 13 across the state, is charged with this mission. Monday at the State Capitol building, students presented educational products produced using various technologies. The focus on the presentation was the emphasis of the integration of multiple technologies to enrich the curriculum and effective uses of technology to increase school productivity.
On Wednesday, students, faculty, staff, and members of the community attended VSU's second International Luncheon program that focused on the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. ASEAN is a trade bloc of 10 countries that represents over 500 million people. The lecture was the second of 5 programs that are scheduled for the spring semester. Upcoming programs will focus on Latin America, Africa, and the South Pacific.
Next on News 11, Kevin Allison will join us with the latest in sports.
But first, here's a look at your local weather.
Good job.
Look, it's a giraffe.
I don't see it.
The less art kids get, the more it shows. Are yours getting enough? Art. Ask for more. AmericansForTheArts.org.
Like a plague, poverty infects half the world's people. It's a ruthless killer, striking innocent children and their families. But there is a cure, and it's in your hands. Through CARE, you can help communities permanently recover from poverty, because CARE targets the source of the problem, not just the symptoms. That's a cure that can last a lifetime. CARE, where the end of poverty begins.
Valdosta State University, Georgia's regional partner, in tune with the technological age. State-of-the-art computer labs as well as online learning experiences ensure Valdosta State students earn a high-tech education. From distance learning to on-site instruction, the VSU campus is connected to tomorrow, offering a premier educational experience that can't be matched. Valdosta State University is Georgia's regional partner.
Welcome back to News 11. Kevin Allison now joins us with sports. So Kevin, how about those Lady Blazers?
I have to tell you too, I love the month of March for one simple reason, March Madness. 2 words always linked together, but 2 words you probably get sick of by the end of the month. Here at VSU though, we have our own March Madness to get excited about, as the Lady Blazer basketball team is in the 2nd seed in the South region of the national tournament. Talk about a couple of dramatic weeks, though, for the team as they clinched the Eastern Division Championship by beating West Florida the final game of the season. Then they opened the Gulf South Conference Tournament with an overtime victory against Arkansas Monticello, and then lose a heartbreaker on the last-second shot to Central Arkansas in the championship game. Whether you want to use the term battle-tested or not, the Lady Blazers have faced the competition that will either get them ready for the tourney or wear them down. News 11 caught up with Coach Hill to find out how his team was feeling and what they should expect against their first-round opponent, Florida Tech.
Well, I think right now we're recovered pretty well. We're just a little exhausted, so to speak, trying to get our legs back underneath us. We got back in about 1 o'clock on Monday morning. Brought our kids back in on Sunday just to meet and kind of get their minds what the next step was going to be when we leave for the regionals. Then we came in yesterday. I guess it's Tuesday. My days are kind of getting backwards here, but we had about a 45-minute shoot around today. We come in and begin the full-fledged prep for Florida Tech, which we play at 1 o'clock on Friday. I think the biggest thing we got to prepare for, we just got to keep doing what we've done all year long. We're not going to change anything what we've done. We've had pretty good success with it so far. We've just got to be able to contain the dribble drive. They do a tremendous job with that. They got a big post player inside, big kid. She's about 6'1", 6'2", thick, wide body. So we're going to have to be able to contain her in the post area. But the biggest thing I'm concerned about right now is the dribble drive. They do a tremendous job of creating off the dribble, trying to get you deep and getting you foul trouble, or trying to get that 15 to 17-footer.
Lady Blazers will square off against Florida Tech 2 p.m. on Friday in the South Regional, which is hosted by Central Arkansas. Sticking with the ladies basketball team, the Gulf South Conference accolades were announced earlier this week, with two Lady Blazers being named to the second team. Candace Farrell and Tracy Newton were the only representatives given recognition from the first-place team in the East, VSU. The first team of the GSC had 2 members from West Florida and 1 each from Montevallo, West Georgia, and West Alabama. Shannon Bergen of West Florida was named Eastern Division Coach of the Year. With only 2 players recognized from VSU by the Gulf South Conference and Coach Hill himself overlooked for the Coach of the Year, News 11 posed the question to Coach Hill on whether he was a little disappointed or not.
Well, I don't know so much if we're on the radar. I think people do know we're pretty good, but I pulled it up this morning and looked on the internet, and I was not a very happy camper coming into work this morning. So, I felt our kids who have earned a lot of respect. We were in the number 1 in the South region for about 4 or 5 weeks in a row. Never fell below 4th the entire year long. And it just speaks volumes for the character of our kids to keep battling and not gain any respect out of it. I think that, we've still got some stuff to prove. A lot of folks are playing it still. A lot of folks who are on that GSC roster right now, that all-conference roster, are sitting at home where we're still playing, which speaks volumes for a basketball team instead of individuals.
Point. Valdosta State baseball has gotten back on the winning track with a great pitching performance from Michael Martinez. Martinez pitched 7 strong innings, allowing only 6 hits and 1 run to lead the Blazers to an impressive 8-1 victory over Burton Parker. The Blazers are now hovering above 500 with a record of 10-9. Baseball's wild ride with steroids isn't about to end anytime soon, and now Congress is getting in on the act. 7 subpoenas of current or former major leaguers and a vow to fight from the commissioner's office. Ed Henry has the story.
Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire forged a bond during the celebrated summer of '98. When they each surpassed the previous record for home runs in a season. Now they're linked again, both slapped with subpoenas from a congressional committee probing whether their home run chase was fueled by more than just Mother Nature. Also on the hit list, Jason Giambi, Rafael Palmeiro, Curt Schilling, Frank Thomas, and Jose Canseco. Canseco wants to testify perhaps so he can discuss his explosive new book that claims he used steroids with McGwire and others. Schilling has spoken out against steroids. And Thomas has said this is a problem baseball must face.
Like I told people before, I got nothing to hide, so they've subpoenaed us, they subpoenaed us. And I will stick by my word. It's an honor to go there.
But Major League Baseball officials are swinging back at Congress, insisting they'll fight the subpoenas because the committee does not have legal jurisdiction. Baseball officials also say forcing players like Giambi to testify on Capitol Hill next Thursday could taint the grand jury probe of Balco Laboratories, which allegedly provided steroids to various athletes. Giambi reportedly told the grand jury he used steroids, though publicly he's been vague about the case that's dominated the early days of spring training.
I know there's been a lot of distractions, over the past year, and I wanted to apologize for all those, distractions from the bottom of my heart. I take full responsibility for it, and I'm sorry.
In a letter to the congressional panel, Major League Baseball's lawyer lashed out at a separate subpoena seeking the results of player drug tests. He wrote, "The right to privacy outweighs any asserted interest in the health problems stemming from the use of steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs." An aide to House Government Reform Chairman Tom Davis, who issued the subpoenas, fired back the panel does have legal authority, saying it's sad that they've resorted to legalese, and inaccurate legalese at that. And despite baseball's push to block testimony, there are indications players like Sosa may come forward on their own. The stakes have been raised because a failure to testify could result in charges of contempt of Congress. An agent for Sosa told CNN that after respectfully declining the panel's initial invitation, the slugger now will, quote, take a second look and make the right choice. Ed Henry, CNN, Washington.
It's just all one big mess. Sunny California is the place to be this time of year, especially if you're the Blazer golf team. The Blazers traveled to the West Coast earlier this week to compete in the SoCal Intercollegiate Tournament. Blazers finished 12th out of 15 teams, with Blazers golfer Kevin Dutkowski leading the team, finishing 15th overall in the tournament. Bethany, Nicole, that'll do it for sports. Quickly, about Coach Hill, as any good coach does, he gives all the credit to his players for the success of the season. But with no disrespect to Shannon Bergen of University of West Florida, he's a great coach in her own right. They somewhat had a disappointing season. Valdosta State defeated West Florida twice during the regular season, and they're one of the top teams in the country, and Coach Hill gets slighted. To me, that's just a little bit of injustice. I think he should have been Coach of the Year.
Thank you, Kevin.
No problem.
Coming up, we'll have news on teacher salaries in Georgia going up. Stay with us.
It wasn't all that long ago when soil choked the air, cities baked in the heat, and rivers ran out of control. When people went hungry because the crops had failed, when we neglect and abuse the land, the misery follows. What happens on the land, even land we'll never see, affects the water we drink, the air we breathe, and the food we eat. The Arbor Day Foundation reminds you that we need conservation trees. Conservation buffers stop polluted runoff and clean the water. Trees clear the air and help conserve energy. Let's make sure this never happens again. Visit the Arbor Day Foundation website, arborday.org, to find out how to plant and care for trees where you live, in town or in the country.
Plant a tree today for all the world to share.
Georgia teachers are above average according to the U.S. Senate Bureau. The 2003 figures show that Georgia ranks number 14 in public elementary and secondary school teacher salaries, with the average salary of over $45,000 per year. The states that top the list are California at number 1 and Connecticut at number 2. The Dakotas are at the bottom, with North at number 49 and South at number 50.
A new version of the SATs will be given this Saturday. The new version that includes an essay portion will be 45 minutes longer than the original test. The addition of the essay portion will also increase the scoring of a possible perfect score from 1,600 to 2,400. Another change in the SATs is the omission of the analogies portion. Each part of the SAT test will equally weigh 800 points for reading, math, and writing.
Thanks for watching News 11.
Have a good weekend.
Hello and welcome to News 11. I'm Taylor Parks.
And I'm Heather Harris. Coming up, we'll tell you about the recent Valdosta-Lowndes County Azalea Festival.
Plus, we'll have this week's Medical Minute. News 11 starts now. Spring is on its way, and the Valdosta-Lowndes County 5th Annual Azalea Festival celebrated the coming of this season. Our own Heather Harris has more.
The 5th Annual Valdosta-Lowndes County Azalea Festival took place this past weekend, drawing in an estimated 35,000 people. The three-day festival, primarily held in Drexel Park, featured arts and crafts from local merchants.
The artwork and the crafts sections are wonderful, and of course there are plenty of things to buy, you know, for your home and your children.
The International Village, presented by students from the Valdosta State University International Program, displayed information from their home countries.
I guess a lot of people don't know that VSU's got a big international community here. We got people like, I've never met so many people, international students. Met people from like Turkmenistan, Russia, Belize, you know, Mexico, everywhere, so.
Since the first festival in 2001, the Azalea Festival has drawn many participants from the surrounding communities.
100 vendors from all over the southeast and as far west as Arkansas.
Other activities included a kids zone, offering a climbing wall and a slide. With the support of citizens and local businesses, the Valdosta-Lowndes County Azalea Festival is only expected to grow.
If anyone would like to help us, make suggestions, come and help us. We need volunteers. We always need volunteers on the committee.
Overall, Mrs. Griner and the rest of the Azalea Festival Committee believe that the event was a success and have high expectations for next year's event.
To contact Mrs. Griner and the rest of the committee to make suggestions for next year's festival, call 242-8204.
Lowndes County poverty numbers are increasing, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. A 2002 study showed the poverty level increasing about 17% from the previous year. The study categorized 7,000 new citizens as being poverty-stricken in the county. The Bureau calculates poverty by estimating the annual amount of cash income minimally required to support families of various sizes. The calculation uses income and excludes non-cash benefits, such as public housing, Medicaid, and food stamps.
Since VSU is growing in population, the campus is having to grow as well. News 11's Chandler Stewart has more.
On-campus living is a must for every student at any campus, including here at VSU. And with the rise in enrollment every semester, Valdosta State is having to expand and improve its current living conditions.
With enrollment projected at a little over 16,000 in the year 2014, that means we'd have to get to 4,000 beds, and right now we would be at about 2,300.
With renovations to current residence halls occurring right now, VSU is looking for land where it would be possible to add new residence halls and other accommodations.
I could see that the main growth area for the university would be sort of over by the rec center, new Centennial Hall area, and then moving south. And we'll be picking up plots of land when they come for sale as quick as we can. I think we'd like to put additional housing there, and probably the practice facilities for football, and eventually the new tennis courts, with the current football field, or the new football field, going where the tennis courts are now.
Not only is VSU looking out for its athletics teams, but also certain majors will get accommodated as well, with new venues coming to North Campus.
What we'll probably have to do next is 2 more centennials. We won't call them a centennial, but one on the North Campus, which will be an apartment complex that will focus on people who are studying, say, business and health, because that's what will be on the North Campus. And then a second complex somewhere in the general campus here.
This is Chandler Stewart reporting for VSU News 11.
Believe it or not, Valdosta has become a hot new destination for spring breakers. College students from all over the country are spending their vacations right here in Valdosta, volunteering their time to build houses for Habitat for Humanity. These students have been hard at work on homes for 3 families and are doing their part to help our local Habitat reach its goal of eliminating substandard housing in Lowndes County by the year 2020. So far, Valdosta volunteers have built more than 120 homes over the past several years.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, there is a surge in the population among Hispanics. The Hispanic population grew faster in Georgia than in any other state in the nation. With a 17% growth rate, the Bureau estimates over 100 Hispanics move to Georgia each day. The metro Atlanta counties of Gwinnett, DeKalb, Fulton, and Cobb are home to 50% of the state's Hispanic population. Hispanics are also the nation's largest minority group.
The Lowndes County Board of Commissioners has picked an at-risk construction manager to expand the county jail. The commission voted 2-1 in favor of Peter Brown Construction Company. The project is estimated to cost $6 million. The first phase will involve improving the administrative areas. This will keep security in the jail courtroom and support the area, which contains the library, laundry, food amenities, and beds in the jail cells. The later phases will include electronic sensor cameras and sliding doors for the 180 capacity rooms. The jail contains 600 inmates. The expansion project is scheduled to take 14 months. Coming up, we'll tell you about the resignation of a Valdosta Police Department officer.
Plus, we'll have all your medical news. Stay with us.
At our high school here in Seattle, Rotary Club supports a program called Computers for the World.
We rebuild older computers and then personally take them to places where people can't afford them.
Computers for the World is one of many Rotary programs that rely upon volunteers of all ages from the community.
It's my way of making a positive impact on the lives of others.
It's a great example of the power of volunteerism.
You should volunteer. The world is counting on you.
It's springtime in the forest of the black-tailed deer. The young male is feeling playful. It's time for tag. The female flicks her ears. Her way of saying, "Catch me if you can."
The waters of America flow through many lands. Anywhere along the journey, polluted runoff can flow into the water. We can protect our waters by planting conservation trees in the country and in our towns. Go to the Arbor Day Foundation website, arborday.org. See how to plant the right trees in the right place.
Plant a tree today for all the world to share.
To protect your land and the waters of America.
Valdosta Police Officer Kevin Trollinger resigned yesterday after the Brooks County Sheriff's Office filed multiple charges against him, stemming from an incident Tuesday. Trollinger was charged with public intoxication, reckless conduct, and aggravated assault. Trollinger was with the Valdosta Police Department for about 5 years.
According to the National Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 59% of adults in Georgia are overweight or obese. The latest reports from the CDC say Georgia is the fattest state in the country with a 101% increase. Childhood obesity is also becoming more prevalent in Georgia. 1/3 of middle school students are overweight or at risk for obesity. Findings state that physical inactivity is a major contributor to obesity. Also in medical news, if you are sniffing and sneezing, it may not be a cold you're suffering from. News 11's Carey DeBeaux has more.
With the allergy season approaching, Valdostans are wondering what causes their allergies and how do we treat them?
Allergies are certain things that your body it's not used to. Certain things that people are exposed to, their body produces what we call antihistamines or histamines that don't allow, your body reacts to it and they don't accept it. The way allergies run are trees are more prevalent in the spring, grasses are in the summer, and weeds are in the fall.
Many people believe the azaleas are the cause of their suffering from allergies this season, when in fact, it's really our tall friends, the pine trees.
Typical allergies are itchy eyes, runny nose, itchy throat, sneezing, sinus congestion. Of course, for asthmatics, they get the difficulty breathing, wheezing, all that great stuff. But the most common ones are the itchy eyes, runny nose. Allergy shots, the way we come to mix them is we have a patient come in, we skin test you. We, apply a bunch of little tests on your arms to trees, grasses, all kinds of stuff. Allergy shots are they're made specifically for each person based on what your skin testing came out. So if you have a high allergy to Bermuda grass and cat hair, we'll send all those results over to Walter Reed, and they'll make your extract based on whatever you're allergic to.
So if it's an allergy you're suffering from, you're probably not alone. For News 11, I'm Carey DeBeaux.
The National Centers for Disease Control, along with state officials, confirmed one case of lymphogranuloma, a rare form of the sexually transmitted disease chlamydia in Atlanta. Gay and bisexual men who have HIV, multiple partners, and unprotected sex run a high risk of contracting the disease. The Atlanta case occurred in a gay man who is HIV positive. Symptoms of LGV may not appear until 6 months after the infection. Health officials will conduct additional testing to be sure that cases have not been overlooked.
Larry Spruill joins us now with an update on how students are reacting to our growing university. Larry?
Thanks, Taylor. VSU asked for feedback in regards to the growth of the campus. I went to the SGA Town Hall meeting to hear what students had to say. The Student Government Association hosted a town hall meeting which gave Valdosta State students a chance to voice their concerns and ask questions in regards to issues facing Valdosta State. Some of those issues included parking, on-campus housing, construction throughout VSU, and issues with the Farber Health Center.
Students are misdiagnosed when they have mono and they're told they have a cold. That's kind of frightening a bit. Students should be the #1 focus.
Unfortunately, the answers that I was given tonight are the same answers to the same questions that I've been getting for about the past 4 weeks. I've been pushing to get a proper sign or a proper communication to the student body that there's no parking 24 hours over there on the construction zone by the library.
Although there was some negative feedback on the town hall meeting, the faculty and staff reassured that everything was going smoothly.
President Zachary has been working with city engineers and with the mayor to see what our options are in regard to traffic patterns around the campus and the things that we might be able to amend and change slightly to make it a little bit safer to cross the street.
As the campus of Valdosta State University continues to expand, more concerns are naturally to come. You can voice your opinion at the Students' Life Office at 333-5674. Reporting for VSU News 11, I'm Larry Spruill. Although this was the last town hall meeting of the year, SGA meets every Monday night at 8 p.m. in the library auditorium.
Well, thanks, Larry. Very interesting reactions. The city of Valdosta is well known for its university, but few of its residents completed one successfully. Studies from the 2000 census show Valdosta's percentage of residents with bachelor's degrees is 19.7%, falling below Georgia's average of 24.3%. Other metro areas in the state, also with lower than average college graduate rates, are Savannah, Augusta, Macon, Albany, and Columbus. On the other hand, Atlanta and Athens percentages are above the Georgia average, with 34.6% and 40%.
A local business is closing its doors tomorrow, leaving many customers wondering where to shop. News 11's Lydia Giddens tells us more.
Southern Salvage is one of the only freestanding buildings left in downtown Valdosta. The going out of business sale ends tomorrow.
Southern Salvage started in 1948. They started as an Army-Navy store, and we've been very successful. People have been real good to us.
The surplus carries various Army and Navy attire and even some antiques.
And back when it first started, you didn't have the malls. So most of the people come downtown to do all the shopping. And we got people from all around Valdosta that trade here. Quitman, Madison, Homerville, Adel, all of them used to come here and still come here. We used to wait on the grandfathers, now we're waiting on the grandchildren.
Many local customers, such as Terry Bender, are sad to see the surplus go.
Closing's going to be really bad because it's going to be real hard for me to find stuff.
I'm ready to retire. I'm up in age now where if I got a little life left, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy a little bit. But I'm not going to Disney World. I'm going fishing.
After being in business for over 57 years, another Valdosta landmark will be closing its doors. For News 11, I'm Lydia Giddens.
When we come back, Kevin Allison will join us with sports.
But first, here's a quick look at your weather.
Okay, ready? 1 zip my point. 2 zip my point. Yes. 3 zip.
There is a better way to have fun with history. Visit americaslibrary.gov. Log on, play around, learn something.
5 zip. Your serve.
Noise. There's more of it in your life than you think. Everyday sounds, from household appliances to traffic. Even a crowded restaurant can hit 85 decibels. That's the level audiologists know can cause permanent hearing loss. So keep an eye on your ears and visit ASHA.org, the American Speech Language Hearing Association.
I am the port in the storm.
Seal to freedom. We are the United States Coast Guard.
Heed your country's call. Join the Coast Guard or Coast Guard Reserve.
Welcome back. Kevin Allison joins us now with sports. Kevin?
Happy St. Patrick's Day, you two.
You too.
It's supposed to be a time to celebrate. Fortunately, not for everybody, as the NCAA tournament run for the Lady Blazers has come to an end, as Henderson State defeated VSU in the regional semifinals, 69-56. The loss marked the end of an unbelievable season as the ladies advanced to the national tournament for the first time under coach Kylie Hill. Unfortunately, the loss means that Amber Daniels and local product Courtney Parker have suited up for the last time as a Blazer. The Lady Blazer basketball team finished the season with a record of 24-7 and are Gulf South Conference Eastern Division champs. The search is over to find the new Valdosta State University volleyball coach. Sia Poyer from Eastern New Mexico University will officially replace John Tietzel as the Lady Blazers' new coach on April 1st. Poyer has been the first assistant at ENMU for 15 years and is excited to take over VSU's program. In his time at Eastern New Mexico, the team has averaged 21 wins a year. What does winning a national championship mean for those involved with Valdosta State football program? Well, if you're a player, it means that you need to work even harder to defend your title. Spring practices have been underway and will conclude in a week with the annual Red-Black scrimmage. Special correspondent to News 11, Bryce Zimmerman, had the chance to sit down with Division II National Championship head football coach Chris Hatcher to talk about the memorable December 11th evening and also what the future might hold for Chris Hatcher and the Valdosta State University football program.
Still snap right on far side. We're chasing. He throws it down there. It is up. It is up. The Baldwin Blazers at the 50. The Blazers are going to win a national championship in football. University, its first ever football national championship.
Fast forward now to the night before the national championship game. What was going through your mind as you fell asleep in Florence, Alabama?
We were just ready to go out there and play. You don't get the opportunity to compete for a national title a whole lot, and we didn't want this one to pass us by. We were much more relaxed than we were in 2002. We were a very confident team, and we felt like we had as good a chance to be national champions as Pittsburgh State.
59-7 record over 4 years, 4 Gulf South Conference championships, 2 national championships, countless coaching awards and accolades. In 20 years, when people look at your tenure here at Valdosta State, what is the defining characteristic of the Chris Hatcher era?
I hope people say that his teams played hard. I hope that when people look back, they can say, hey, one thing about Chris Hatcher and his teams, they had a lot of fun, but more importantly, they gave 100% every time they stepped foot on that football field.
With the national championship comes publicity and credibility. But even before this recognition of this program, this university has already been growing. Has that growth created a sense of urgency?
Valdosta State, in my opinion, is second to nobody. And hopefully we'll continue to be on the rise, and maybe one day we'll be able to compete at the Division I level in athletics, and that'll just make coming to Valdosta State that much better.
Hypothetically speaking, what if right now, for some unexplained reason, Chris Hatcher was no longer the coach at Valdosta State? How would this program be affected?
Yeah, I hope it wouldn't be affected negatively at all. You know, you never know. I hope that would be the case. I think we built a strong foundation, have excellent assistant coaches here. I'm sure someone could step right in and take over where I've left off. And we've built a groundwork of an attitude, if you will, on our football team, just to be able to find a way through any type of adversity that comes your way. And I hope all the ideals and the values that we've been building here for 5 years, going into the 6th season, would be able to take care of itself if I wasn't the football coach here anymore.
Can't argue with much about what Coach Hatcher has done. Great coach. National champions, of course. Hopefully next year they'll be able to defend their title.
Thanks, Kevin.
No problem.
When we come back, we'll tell you about the Shamrock Shuffle. Stay with us.
Diversification. It's a pretty big word, but easy to understand, especially when it comes to structuring your investment portfolio. Having diversity in your investments is always a good idea. It not only makes your overall portfolio more balanced, it can provide you with a little peace of mind by helping you to minimize your risks. Simply put, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Learn more about the importance of diversifying your portfolio and choose to save.
Properly inflating my tires burns less fuel and saves me money on gas. Yeah, I'm saving Mother Nature from pollution, but more importantly, she saved me $11. Ow!
Environmental defense. Get green.
By keeping my car regularly tuned, I save money on gas and repairs. That also means cleaner air. You know, feels good to help save the cash, planet.
Environmental defense. Get green. For more tips, go to getgreen.com.
Valdosta State University, Georgia's regional partner, combining classroom and research opportunities, giving students the skills they need to achieve in a new millennium. From water purification research to archaeological excavations, Valdosta State students and professors work together in the laboratory and in the community. Hands-on learning, real-world research. Valdosta State University is Georgia's regional partner.
This Saturday, more than 150 students from 9 Georgia counties, ranging from 4th to 12th grade, will participate in the Southern Reading Bowl at Valdosta State's Education Center. The competition is based on Georgia Children's Book Award nominees. The event is sponsored by the Helen Ruffin Reading Bowl Committee, the Department of Early Childhood and Reading, and the Student Council of the International Reading Association. This is Valdosta State's first time hosting the competition, and the public is welcome to attend.
Valdosta State University is continuing its mission to give back to the community by hosting the Shamrock Shuffle. News 11's Tarian Batten has more.
Valdosta State University's Campus Recreation, in conjunction with Volunteer Services and Greek Life, sponsored the Shamrock Shuffle to raise money for the Haven Battered Women's Shelter.
This is the first year. I know VSU does a 5K at homecoming, so I mean, everyone likes a 5K, and it's starting to get warm weather, so just come out here and run and get a little bit of exercise in the mornings.
5K run walk, which started and finished in front of the campus recreation building, featured students and faculty.
It was a good day. It was a good day to run, and I'm glad all the proceeds went to the Haven. I did some work with them when I was a freshman. It's a good organization, and they need all the help they can get.
Participants and local businesses generated $400 in donations. For News 11, I'm Tarian Batten.
The Valdosta Lowndes Recreation Parks and Community Affairs Department is holding the annual Easter Eggstravaganza this Saturday at Drexel Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There will be various activities, including an egg hunt, face painting, pony rides, train rides, a bounce house, a petting zoo, and games. The egg hunt is open to children ages 1 to 9. There will be food vendors, and participants can bring their own picnic lunch.
That's all we have this week. I'm Heather Harris.
And I'm Taylor Parks. Have a happy and safe St. Patrick's Day and a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Hello and welcome to News 11. I'm Lydia Giddens.
And I'm Laura Binkley. Coming up, we'll tell you about problems that may arise in the future with Social Security.
Plus, we'll have this week's Medical Minute. News 11 starts now. President Bush, along with Canada's Prime Minister Paul Martin and Mexico's President Vicente Fox, announced the Security and Prosperity Partnership of North America this week. The SPP will establish a cooperative approach to develop a security strategy to protect North America and promote economic growth, competitiveness, and quality of life. The SPP is intended to affect farming and agriculture as well as the overall economy. Under the partnership, there will be working groups headed by the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Commerce.
If you're not in the baby boom generation, one group says don't expect to collect Social Security. According to trustees overseeing the government's retirement program, the fund will go broke in 2041. This is a year earlier than previously estimated. On Wednesday, trustees said in 2017, Social Security will pay more in benefits than it gets in payroll taxes. Trustees estimate that the $1.6 trillion collected from decades of payroll taxes will decrease to zero due to government spending.
At least 14 are believed dead and more than 100 people are injured after a BP oil refinery fire Wednesday in Texas City, Texas. Investigators are still trying to determine the cause of the explosion. Witnesses said they could feel the blast as far as 5 miles away. This is not the first problem the refinery has had. Last March, another explosion occurred, and afterwards the Occupational Safety and Health Administrative fined the refinery for safety violations, which included discrepancies in the emergency shutdown system and employee training. Also in September, the refinery was fined by OSHA when 2 employees were burned to death by superheated water.
The U.S. Secret Service says identity theft is one of the fastest growing crimes in the United States. It is said that 1 out of every 4 people will become a victim of identity theft. The Georgia Stop Identity Theft Network is trying to bring together law enforcement agencies to establish a centralized database for victims. The network wants to send a strong message that identity theft will not be tolerated in Georgia. VSU is also taking measures to decrease the chance of identity theft on campus. The university will soon make it mandatory for student identification numbers to be distributed, with students no longer using their Social Security numbers for identification.
Sony unveils what it calls the Walkman of the 21st century today. The PlayStation Portable, or PSP, is a huge leap forward for handheld video gaming. CNN's Daniel Seiberg has details.
If your pockets feel a bit full, well, you might need to make room for the latest gotta-have-it gadget. Sony's PSP, or PlayStation Portable, is now on sale in the U.S. for about $250.
The PlayStation Portable plays movies, it plays music, it plays games, and it functions as a PDA would. It even has Wi-Fi internet access.
Spider-Man 2 is one of the first movies available, along with about 24 games for starters. One glance at the sleek device and you know it's going to make waves. Sony unveiled the PSP with much fanfare at a trade show last May, then released it in Japan in December, where the black-cased Palm player went white hot. Sony reportedly delayed the upcoming European launch to make more units available in the States. But the PSP faces fierce competition. Nintendo, which has long been the handheld leader, has a new one called the DS. Nokia's N-Gage, a combination cell phone and game device, is also out there, and hundreds of game titles are downloadable to many cell phones, offering a convenient way to get games on the go. Apple's iPod isn't aimed at gamers, but Sony clearly has the popular music player in its sights. Just a coincidence they both have white headphones?
I think iPod is probably going to be the predominant gadget in terms of the casual user, but certainly as an all-purpose gadget, the PlayStation Portable is unmatched.
Sony brought us the first portable more than 20 years ago and touts the PSP as the Walkman of the 21st century. Retailers say pre-orders for the PSP were through the roof, and with demand so high, analysts are predicting more than 1 million could be sold in the first few days. The trick may be getting your hands on one. Daniel Seberg, CNN, Atlanta.
Coming up, we'll tell you about a referendum Quitman is trying to pass.
Also, we'll have your medical news. Stay with us.
If you give me a fish.
If you give someone a fish.
You feed them for a day.
Teach someone to fish.
You feed them for a lifetime.
Give me a fish, and you'll feed me for a day. Teach me to fish, and you'll feed me for a lifetime.
Through Volunteers of America, you can help change lives in your community.
For a free exercise guide for folks over 50, call 1-800-222-2225.
The state school superintendent, Kathy Cox, visited Lowndes County and Valdosta City Schools this week to examine the education offered in South Georgia. According to Cox, the education in Valdosta and Lowndes County is impressive, and she will continue to ensure funding is provided for educational improvements. Cox said this area has a quality school system supported by the community and university, which is a winning combination.
Quitman could possibly go from a dry county to a wet one. In a citywide election, there were 221 ballots cast with 121 votes in favor of the new referendum. This new addition would allow restaurants to sell liquor in their establishments. A city commission meeting is scheduled for April 5th to review the possible referendum. The new addition could possibly boost Quitman's economy and could create more jobs in the area. Currently, convenience stores can sell beer as well as some restaurants with a special permit.
Georgia is not wasting time catching up to the nation in unemployment. According to the Georgia Department of Labor, Georgia's unemployment is at 5%, only a 0.4% lower than the national rate. Georgia's unemployment has risen 0.2% since December. The South Georgia region has also seen an increase in unemployment, with the Valdosta area losing around 1,200 jobs between December and January.
In this week's edition of Medical Minute, we look at ways to find out how you can protect yourself from sun damage. News 11's Laura Binkley has more.
With spring break just around the corner, many people are preparing for their fun in the sun. But first, there are a few precautions that can help prevent your skin from sun damage.
Avoid being in the sun from the hours of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's when the sun's rays are the hottest and the potential for burn is greater. You need to stay hydrated. That means drink fluids, non-alcoholic, and probably try to also stay away from the caffeine. It can cause dehydration. Water is your best bet. Apply sunscreen at SPF of 15 or greater. And do this 20 minutes before you go out into the sun, because this allows for your skin to absorb the sunscreen, the protection. Also, reapply the sunscreen or block every 2 hours, especially if you've been out swimming or you've been exercising and have sweated a lot. And wear sunglasses with 100% UV protection. It'll help prevent cataracts later in life.
The American Cancer Society recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of at least 15 or higher. It's also important to know your specific skin type and how your skin will react to the sun.
Those people that are fair-skinned, light hair, and tend to freckle more, they really need to pay attention to their skin, know what their moles that are already on their body look like. If any changes, they need to see a healthcare provider for that, and they always need to wear sunblock.
To get the most sun protection and reduce your risk of skin cancer, experts recommend applying sunscreen about every 20 minutes before heading outdoors and to reapply every 2 hours. If longer exposure to the sun results in skin irritations such as sunburn, there are ways to help ease the discomfort.
Aloe, pure aloe, they can apply that to their skin, and they can use Motrin, ibuprofen, or Tylenol for the pain, and basically that's about all you can do, and drink plenty of fluids.
While enjoying the sunny, warm weather, don't forget to also apply sunscreen to the ears, back of the neck, and exposed areas of the scalp. For News 11, I'm Laura Binkley. Today is World Tuberculosis Day. It is a day to acknowledge the collaborative effects of the countries involved in fighting TB. It is also a day to educate the public about the consequences of TB. Tuberculosis is a bacterial infection that usually affects the lungs, but can affect other parts of the body. It is a disease that can be cured and with time eliminated. In the late 19th century, TB killed about 1 in 7 people living in the U.S. On March 24th of 1882, the TB-causing bacteria was discovered. Today, TB is the second leading infectious disease that kills adults each year.
Many farm supplies and pet stores are stocking up on cute baby ducklings and chicks for Easter. But before you rush out to buy one, make sure you know the risk first. These young animals often carry a harmful bacteria called salmonella. The bacteria is carried in the animal's intestines and contaminates the animal's entire body. You and your children can be exposed by just holding the animal. So in order to make sure your child has a happy and safe Easter, buy them a cute, furry, stuffed animal instead.
The strongman competition at VSU showcased the strength and endurance of VSU students. News 11's Torian Batten has more.
VSU's Campus Recreation held its first annual strongman competition this past weekend. The event tested the strength and the endurance of fellow men and women students.
Strongman competition is a fitness event that I came up with to try and encourage and show people different levels of fitness and encourage participation in the rec center.
The competition consisted of events that are similar to the World's Strongest Man competition shown on ESPN.
Came up with this idea about December, January. We came up with finding sponsors and testing out the events and stuff like that and handing out flyers.
The strongman competition produced 1 male and 1 female winner.
I feel pretty good about it. Basically just signed up just to see where I stood in relation to the other guys at VSU that thought they were pretty strong, and just wanted to come out and see how I fared against everybody else.
It was a real surprise. The competition was really fierce, but a lot of I know some students, and they came out and they cheered, and the support was great, and the competition was just a lot of fun.
And everyone that participated found out how far their strength can actually take them.
I feel it was a pretty good participation, more people than I thought would, and I feel a lot of people are scared this year, so more people want to do it next year.
Campus Recreation Strongman Competition has provided yet another way for students to compete. For News 11, I'm Torian Batten.
When we come back, Torian Batten joins us with sports.
But first, here's a quick look at your weather.
Somewhere around the world, there are men and women of the armed forces risking their lives, helping rebuild communities after natural disasters, collecting toys for needy children, tutoring kids in school, These are your sons and daughters who work to keep us safe, secure, and free. Dedicated men and women who put their country first.
Valdosta State University, the pathway to success.
I love VSU because from the moment I came here, it's just been like a second home.
This place was just like home for me, and I love it. I'll always love it.
Just above the Florida border, VSU is a second home for students from all over Georgia, 47 states, and 58 countries. A quality university degree, a unique second home, a great location. Valdosta State University, your pathway to success.
Spread the word.
Welcome back. Torian Batten joins us now with sports.
Thanks, Laura. The schedule for the 2005 VSU football season has been announced. As the defending champs have 6 home games to start off the season, the Blazers travel to Fort Valley State with a 6 p.m. kickoff. First chance to catch the Blazers at home will be September 3rd against Albany State, the only team that defeated the Blazers a year ago. Homecoming for the 2005 edition of VSU football take place October 8th against Henderson State. The defending champs end the season against arch rival West Georgia in a 1 p.m. game on November 1st. So go out and support the Blazers as they begin their journey to repeat as national champions. The Valdosta State University golf team finished a solid 6th out of 15 teams in the Bobcat Invitational hosted by Georgia College and State Golf Club at Cuello Monday. The scheduled 54-hole event was shortened to 36 holes when rain washed out Tuesday final 18 over the 6,847-yard par 70 layout on Lake Oconee near Eatonton. The Blazers, finishing only 2 shots out of second, were led by Spencer Provo, who was at even par 140 after Monday's 36 holes. Provo finished alone in third, and Brian Hertag tied for 16th at 5 over 145. GC and SU won the tourney by 8 shots over Armstrong Atlantic State and North Alabama. The marathon season of Valdosta State baseball is about at its midway point, with the Blazers standing at 15-10 overall and 3-0 in the Gulf South Conference. The baseball team's 7-game winning streak was recently snapped with a tough 7-6 loss to Warner Southern. 2 top performers, John McDonald and Robert Morgan, have been leading the Blazer offense, with McDonald and Morgan both batting .385. Michael Martinez and Robert Petrucci have been the standout starters, both having ERAs under 3. The month of April will be the most important for the Blazers, as conference play will be in full force. One of the most talked about changes to the Braves organization this year actually does not have anything to do with the team on the field. Watch and listen as Pete Van Warren and Hank Aaron as they unveil the new addition to the Braves franchise.
Push the button. Time to push the button. Push the power button and everybody pay attention. You're not going to believe it.
The $10 million Braves Vision is the sports world's largest video board. The first of its kind high-definition screen stands 71 feet tall and 79 feet wide. The screen will act as a scoreboard and a video board during baseball games. If you are in the Atlanta area this Saturday, you will have your first chance to check it out, as the Braves will hold an open house. That's it for the world of sports.
Thanks, Torian. When we come back, we'll tell you about some awards that VSU students have earned. Stay with us.
Every weekend, millions of middle-aged adults head out the door to take on a new sport or pick up where they left off in a sport they haven't played in years. This is a good thing, but there could be a downside. New physical activities bring new stresses to bones, muscles, and joints. A good reason to take new sports one step at a time, with plenty of stretching and warming up. Fitness is good, but exercise common sense. A public service message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
is a better way to have fun with history.
Come on, Louie. Focus, man.
Visit americaslibrary.gov. Log on, play around, learn something.
VSU mass media students racked up awards in national competitions this week. The Society of Collegiate Journalists announced its 2005 national award recipients, with VSU receiving second place in broadcast news for News 11's Morning Report. The same newscast received a first place award from the National Broadcasting Society national competition. Other SCJ awards received for VSU mass media include a first place national award for broadcast sports for football coverage and a third place award for basketball coverage. An honorable mention award for broadcast features was also received for a live student-produced broadcast of the 2004 election night coverage.
In the past 12 months, VSU Mass Media has won a total of 8 national awards, including 3 national awards from last year's 2004 National SCJ competition. Also in 2004, the SGA Chapter won the Edward McDonald National Chapter Award and will host the 2006 SCJ National Convention. VSU's mass media program allows students to gain hands-on experience in student-produced productions of newscasts that air throughout the school year and remote sport productions showcased on VSU-TV. Students also have the opportunity to gain experience in filmmaking by directing, writing, producing, and editing their own student film projects. The Minority Advising Program in the Recruitment Office is hosting its spring conference today and tomorrow at the University Center. Since 1983, the conference has addressed specific problems that minority students face within the university system of Georgia. This year's conference will have standardized testing workshops for students and mentoring guidelines. Michael Thurman will be this year's featured speaker.
Easter is just around the corner, and many stores are stocking up with the Easter essentials: colorful baskets, artificial grass, plastic eggs, chocolate bunnies, and much more. Children and adults as well get into the Easter spirit by visiting the Easter Bunny at the Colonial Mall here in Valdosta. The Easter Bunny will be at the Colonial Mall until Saturday, so be sure to hop on over and see him.
That's all we have this week. I'm Laura Binkley.
And I'm Lydia Giddens. Next week is spring break, so we won't be here, but we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Hello and welcome to News 11. I'm Amy Housemeyer.
And I'm Taylor Parks. Coming up, we'll tell you about some security measures being taken for the Pope's funeral.
Plus, we'll tell you about the scheduled events for this weekend's Moody Air Force Base Airfest. News 11 starts now. President Bush is among hundreds of dignitaries gathering in Rome, along with millions of ordinary mourners to pay their respects to the Pope. The massive influx is prompting unprecedented security measures in the city. Alessio Vinci has the story.
The largest security challenge so far has been controlling a growing crowd trying to reach St. Peter's Square. Italian officials say they had a plan for the Pope's death, but they had no idea millions would show up to pay their last respects to John Paul II, because they say up to 5 million people could be involved by the time the funeral ends on Friday. They only had a matter of days to adapt their security plan. Despite the long wait to see the Pope's body, officials say the crowd has not been hostile towards security forces, but they're not taking any chances. I have no sign that could be in any way worrying, he says. No sign. It is obvious that nobody is going to underestimate anything, and above all, security. The defense shield will reach its peak on Friday when close to 200 heads of state and government, including the current and 2 past U.S. presidents, will sit in St. Peter's Square, attending the Pope's funeral.
Once they're in the Vatican, they're, of course, the security area, the quite safe, of course. But then we have to handle the people coming into the square. Everybody will be controlled by metal detectors. So we have to get the whole place empty the night before and then control everybody and put them back in the square. So that's going to be a very, very hard task, but we're ready to do that.
Most dignitaries will have a security detail, but officials here say the deployment of security forces will reach close to 15,000 men and women, including hundreds from the military. It already seems as if every street, corner and piazza around the Vatican and beyond is being carefully watched. Key areas are being monitored with cameras linked to police headquarters. The River Tiber is patrolled 24 hours a day. If someone tries to reach the Vatican from here, these 2 officers tell me, he has no chance.
This is just one of many security measures being employed to protect Vatican City. As you can see, the Basilica is very close to the river. However, the first line of defense is far away from here. High above Rome, NATO planes circle to protect the skies, and anti-aircraft missiles defense systems have been deployed just outside the city center.
The airspace over Rome in a range of 60 kilometers has been shut to private aircraft, and commercial air traffic will be reduced drastically by Thursday night. And on Friday, the entire city of Rome has been declared a no-driving zone. Alessio Vinci, CNN, Rome.
The state of Connecticut decided to approve a bill that would allow civil unions for same-sex couples. On Wednesday, a vote of 27-9 favored the bill that is set to go to the House of Representatives as early as next week and is thought to more than likely pass. The decision to allow civil unions in Connecticut comes just after a Kansas decision to have a constitutional amendment banning gay marriage. Other states considering holding elections for next year to ban gay marriages are Alabama, South Dakota, and Tennessee.
Closer to home, a new ramp opening on I-75 is set to give Valdosta motorists some new results. The Department of Transportation estimates that the new addition will allow motorists to take 15 minutes off their normal driving time. The new southbound ramp off exit 22 is just one part of the I-75 widening project that extends from exit 18 to the Cook County line. The project is set to continue for up to a year and a half.
Gasoline is at a record high, and by all accounts, it is going to get even higher. CNN's Chris Huntington has more.
Call it the pump and grind. Your teeth, that is. According to the Department of Energy, the national average price for unleaded regular gasoline is now $2.22 a gallon, an all-time high. And that tab is almost certain to move higher over the next month as the record prices set this week in the wholesale gasoline market filter down to a station near you. The biggest factor is that American drivers show no sign of changing the way they drive. Demand for gasoline this summer is projected to increase even more than it did last year.
No one's really going to change their habits as far as their driving habits. That extra 25 cents is, apparently is not meaningful enough where they're going to all of a sudden say, hey, I'm going to start commuting with 3 or 4 of my buddies as I drive into work. The average person wants to be by himself, drinking his cup of coffee.
The cost of crude oil, which accounts for more than half of the retail price of a gallon of gas, has jumped almost 50% in the last year due to sharply growing demand in the United States, China, and India. The big concern in the oil market is that growing demand could outpace supply.
Basically, there's a lot of physical crude around, but what is driving the market is not the presence or the availability of physical crude. It is the fear that in the future, perhaps in the summer, we're not likely to have enough.
Energy market analysts point out that U.S. refineries are operating at full tilt. In fact, the United States already imports about 10% of the gasoline it uses domestically. One other factor pushing oil and gas prices higher, the energy markets are now the hottest on Wall Street, and there are a lot of sophisticated investors and brokerage firms who in the past might have been in other markets, now betting that supply concerns will drive energy prices even higher. Chris Huntington, CNN, New York.
Americans may see more daylight savings time. Lawmakers approved an amendment on Wednesday to extend daylight savings time by 2 months, starting on the first Sunday in March and ending the last Sunday in November. The House Energy and Commerce Committee put together the legislation, which is now before Congress. Massachusetts Representative Ed Markey said that extending daylight savings time makes sense, especially with skyrocketing energy costs. The Transportation Department estimates that the 2-month extension will save the equivalent of 10,000 barrels of oil a day.
Coming up, we'll tell you about VSU's new ID cards.
Plus, Kevin Allison will join us later on with sports. Stay with us.
Get a job.
Look, it's a giraffe.
I don't see it.
The less art kids get, the more it shows. Are yours getting enough? Art. Ask for more. AmericansForTheArts.org.
Like a plague, poverty infects half the world's people. It's a ruthless killer, striking innocent children and their families. But there is a cure, and it's in your hands. Through CARE, you can help communities permanently recover from poverty, because CARE targets the source of the problem, not just the symptoms. That's a cure that can last a lifetime. CARE, where the end of poverty begins.
Valdosta State University, Georgia's regional partner, in tune with the technological age. State-of-the-art computer labs as well as online learning experiences ensure Valdosta State students earn a high-tech education. From distance learning to on-site instruction, the VSU campus is connected to tomorrow, offering a premier educational experience that can't be matched. Valdosta State University is Georgia's regional partner.
Valdosta State University will issue new identification cards to students and staff. The purpose of the new cards is to protect students from identity theft. The current VSU ID cards contain the student's social security number, but the new cards will not. All University System of Georgia colleges and universities have been advised to do this. The new VSU cards will begin to appear on April 20th, and any old ID cards will be deactivated on May 5th. It is recommended that old cards be destroyed. Log on to the VSU website for more information on the distribution of the new ID cards.
The state of Georgia relies much on its agriculture. According to the Georgia Peanut Commission, Georgia produces almost half of the nation's peanut crop. The 2nd Congressional District of Georgia produces the most in the state, which makes up 25% of the country's crop. In 2003, the state yielded over 1 billion pounds of peanuts from over 80 counties. The $2 billion industry acquires over 14,000 farms with peanuts and provides over 50,000 jobs in the state. The industry also contributes to the creation of 250 peanut-related businesses.
It turns out that the heart benefits of aspirin are different for men and women. Researchers studied nearly 40,000 women in an aspirin analysis over a 10-year period. The new research suggests the medical benefits are a mixed bag. CNN's Dr. Sanjay Gupta has more.
Sue Furch has taken a low-dose aspirin every day for the last 10 years to prevent a heart attack. It's one of the most commonly prescribed drugs in the world, and millions of men and women take it.
I do take that daily, and I take it on the assumption that it might help.
Problem is, for a healthy woman, it probably doesn't help. All the studies that showed any benefit were done only in men. And now a new study in the New England Journal of Medicine has finally put it to the test for women.
In the population of women who are in that age group of 45 to 65, there is no evidence that aspirin provides a benefit in preventing heart disease.
Startling news to doctors and especially to patients. The recommendations are now changing.
But I would say by and large, in the woman who is in the age group of 45 to 65, who has no other risk factors, I think the general recommendation is going to be that they not use aspirin.
But there is one trade-off. Aspirin may have a benefit for women in preventing stroke. Now, that's a benefit men don't get. In fact, in another study, researchers compared high doses of aspirin to another anti-clotting drug called Coumadin or warfarin. The results were clear.
The people who got warfarin did worse, even though warfarin is arguably a more potent anticoagulant.
And by worse, they mean Coumadin or warfarin was no better at stopping a stroke, but was much more likely to cause a significant bleed in the brain. There was no immediate reaction from the makers of Coumadin, Bristol-Myers Squibb. The bottom line, low-dose aspirin works well at preventing heart attacks in men, but not in women, and works well at preventing a stroke in women, but not in men. Good information as long as you talk to your doctor. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN, reporting.
With heightened concerns that the bird flu could enter the U.S. from Asia, health officials are stepping up efforts to protect the nation against influenza. On Wednesday, CDC officials told lawmakers they will double the number of quarantine stations that are used to detain overseas travelers who are potentially carrying dangerous and contagious diseases. The CDC currently operates 11 stations near major entry points into the U.S. They're expected to have 18 in operation by the end of the year. The bird flu continues to spread among millions of chickens and ducks throughout Southeast Asia, but is rarely spread to humans.
Drug maker Pfizer says it is pulling its arthritis painkiller Bextra off the market. The FDA asked for the recall after finding the possible dangers of the drug outweighed its benefits. The FDA cited inadequate information on heart risks from long-term use of the drug, as well as life-threatening skin reactions and death. Also, there is an increased risk of cardiovascular events and gastrointestinal bleeding. The FDA also called for the strongest warning possible on Pfizer's other arthritis product, Celebrex.
Mission first, people always. That's this year's theme for Moody Air Force Base's
Place to hang a coat. To someone else, it's a place to teach a child a lesson he'll never forget. Preventing child abuse and neglect doesn't just mean reporting it. It means stopping it before it starts. Find out how at preventchildabuse.org or 1-800-CHILDREN. A child is helpless. You are not.
I want my money back. This parrot doesn't talk.
Yes, he does. Plato, how can this man get a passport?
1-800-FED-INFO.
The bird's a brain. How can this man find out about Social Security benefits?
1-800-FED-INFO.
Plato here knows the number for the Federal Consumer Information Center, where you'll find all you need to know about government benefits and services.
Really?
Well, a 1-800-FED-INFO, yeah.
I'll keep him. He talked me into it.
He talked me into it.
Hello, I'm Andrew Young. I was formerly ambassador to the United Nations and mayor of Atlanta. Now I'm with Good Works International. Everywhere I've been in the world, the people whom I've seen who are most appreciated are people from the Peace Corps. Whenever somebody says, how can I get to be an ambassador in international business, I say, join the Peace Corps. The Peace Corps will redefine your world and change your life.
Welcome back. Kevin Allison joins us now. Kevin, what is going on with this rain and the sports?
Well, Valdosta's not the only place to be affected by the weather. Rain's pretty much engulfed the whole state of Georgia. Talk about a tough stretch, though, for the PGA Tour. Once again, rain has played a factor with the first major of the year, the Masters, played at Georgia's own Augusta National. First round play was delayed until early this afternoon, with the world's best golfers congregating, including defending champion Phil Mickelson. Augusta National, which is normally a course known for its extremely fast greens, should play a little easier as the rain should soften up the course and could allow for some low scores, at least in the first couple rounds. Continuing with the Masters, an emotional story from a living legend, as six-time champion Jack Nicklaus will tee it up for the 45th time in his remarkable career at the Masters. For months, it was believed that the Golden Bear was going to skip the tournament as he felt he should be with his family as they mourn the loss of his 17-month-old grandson. The game's best, who grew up idolizing what Nicklaus has done in his career, now have one more reason to have the utmost respect for one of the greatest golfers to ever tee it up.
For him to go through this, and I think this is probably more of a family thing, I think, just at least get everybody's mind off of it. You know, Steve is obviously going through some pretty hard times right now, and you know, the whole family's coming up for the week, so it'll be a very touching moment for the entire family, just to at least get their mind off of it for a little bit.
As players, we love to have the greatest player of all time compete, and it adds a lot to the field, and I hope that he's healthy enough to play for a long time, because he certainly has the game for it. He has the game to make the cut and compete.
Locally, some of the best tennis in the nation has been pushed back until tomorrow because of wonderful Mother Nature. The top two teams in Division II tennis will be playing at the Florida State Tennis Center as your own Valdosta State University men's tennis team will look for their revenge against defending national champion West Florida. Both teams who bring undefeated marks into the match have created one of the best rivalries in all Division II sports. Last year, the Blazers season ended in the championship with a loss to the same West Florida squad after they handed UWF their only loss in the 2004 season. Matches will begin at 2 o'clock. It's not the only rivalry going on this weekend. West Georgia comes to town, faces Valdosta State in baseball. Go out there and support your
Rotary. And then personally take them to places where people can't afford them.
Computers for the World is one of many Rotary programs that rely upon volunteers of all ages from the community.
It's my way of making a positive impact on the lives of others.
It's a great example of the power of volunteerism.
You should volunteer. The world is counting on you.
It's springtime in the forest of the black-tailed deer. The young male is feeling playful. It's time for tag. The female flicks her ears. Her way of saying, "Catch me if you can."
The waters of America flow through many lands. Anywhere along the journey, polluted runoff can flow into the water. We can protect our waters by planting conservation trees in the country and in our towns. Go to the Arbor Day Foundation website, arborday.org. See how to plant the right trees in the right place.
Plant a tree today for all the world to share.
To protect your land and the waters of America.
Hey, Hira's 2005 Great American Cleanup will be on Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon. The cleanup will take place throughout the entire city. Everyone is invited to participate. Sign-in and project assignments will take place in the Hira City Hall parking lot. A cookout for volunteers will follow the cleanup at noon at the Community Center on Randall Street.
Tomorrow, VSU will hold the grand opening for Hub. Hub's purpose is to find creative solutions to various needs on campus. The grand opening will be held at 10 a.m. in room 2619 of Odom Library. Visitors will learn how being a member of Hub will gain them access to resources, space, and equipment.
The VSU Student Athlete Advisory Committee is selling red Blazer bracelets similar to the yellow Lance Armstrong bracelets to benefit Make-A-Wish Foundation. Make-A-Wish works to grant the wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions. To purchase a bracelet, stop by the VSU Athletic Department.
VSU-TV will provide special coverage of the funeral of Pope John Paul II from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. tomorrow. Coverage will only be provided in German. However, many of the events included in the coverage, including the Mass, will be in Italian and Latin. Because of this coverage, all 4 hours of normal programming during this time period will be preempted. That's all we have for this week. I'm Taylor Parks.
And I'm Amy Housemeyer. Thanks for joining us. Have a good day.
Hello and welcome to News 11. I'm Kevin Allison.
And I'm Chandler Stewart. Coming up, we'll tell you about last-minute tax information.
And we have the latest on parking situation here at VSU. News 11 starts now. Uncle Sam has his hand out waiting for his payday. With 1 day left to have your taxes postmarked, many people are rushing to get them finished. CNN's Julie Valise has some tips on paying up in this CNN Consumer Watch.
The deadline to file taxes is quickly approaching, but if you don't think you'll have time to prepare them by April 15, you can file an extension. At www.irs.gov, taxpayers can e-file Form 4868 or Application for Automatic Extension of Time. You may download the form and mail in a request for a 4-month extension until August 15. If you think you owe taxes, keep in mind the extension won't give you more time to pay. Experts recommend estimating what you owe based on last year's return and paying now to avoid penalties and interest. If you know you can't pay all of your taxes now, you can set up a payment plan with the IRS. Form 9465, an installment agreement request, allows those who owe to pay what they can afford. Applicants can request to pay through direct debit, payroll deduction, or timed payments. There is a catch. The IRS must approve the agreement, and there is a one-time $43 fee deducted from the first installment. For Consumer Watch, I'm Julie Valise.
Starting today, air travelers will have to leave their lighters at home. Just like guns, knives, and other dangerous items that a passenger cannot carry aboard, lighters are now also banned on the plane. The rule change is now in effect and is expected to produce a large number of lighters from security seizures. Due to September 11th, Congress passed a bill last year adding lighters to the list of items prohibited on the plane. The reason for this instant action is because of Richard Reed, who tried unsuccessfully to light explosives hidden in his shoes on a transatlantic flight. The ban does not include matches. Passengers may still carry up to 4 books of matches onto the plane.
Eric Rudolph will be sentenced to 4 consecutive life prison terms without parole for the 4 bombings that occurred in Alabama and Georgia. The 38-year-old blames the bombings on abortion becoming legal and homosexuality. Rudolph said when the government legalized abortion, they lost their ability to govern. He also mentioned that homosexuals are not a threat when they are in private, but they are when they try to force society to accept them. Abortion clinics in Atlanta and Birmingham were the sites of 2 of the attacks. A lesbian nightclub at Centennial Olympic Park in Atlanta were the other sites of the Rudolph bombings.
The FDA will have the final say on whether a 13-year ban on the use of silicone breast implants by the general public will be lifted. Silicone implants made by Mentor have been approved. And on the subject of breast enlargement, Dr. Sanjay Gupta tells us many young people think bigger is better.
As a teenager, Casey Long's pressures were not all that different from other teens. Sports awards, prom dresses, college, and body image.
I just remember growing up and always waiting for my breasts to develop and for them to fill in. And by about 19, they just never did. And I'm a really tall girl, I'm 5'9", and I just wanted it to sort of balance out my figure. I remember going to the plastic surgeon and I said, well, you make your judgment and just make me proportioned.
So at the age of 19, Casey became part of a steadily increasing trend. Young people undergoing cosmetic surgery. More than 80,000 people 18 or younger had some kind of cosmetic surgical procedure last year. That's an increase of 20% since 2000. A survey of college co-eds found that almost half would consider it in the future. For people aged 19 to 34, breast implants have risen by 15% in the last year alone. With the popularity of the Swan and Extreme Makeover, many think exposure has led to increased acceptance.
I feel beautiful.
I think we're exposing a younger and younger generation of individuals to cosmetic procedures that is probably leading more and more adolescents and young adults to think about these procedures for themselves.
TV shows like to portray just the before and the after, and that's all you focus on. You don't think about, the weeks of recovery that it takes to get there.
In Casey's case, it was not weeks, but years of pain in her arms, in her joints and her feet, extreme fatigue, heart problems, and night sweats. After 2 years of enduring a whole host of unexplainable symptoms, she had the implants removed. Casey and her doctors concluded that her problems must be related to them.
It was the first time I found out that saline breast implants have a silicone shell or encasement.
Although an FDA panel recently concluded that even silicone-filled implants are safe and effective, Casey says her ailments were due to systemic silicone poisoning, just one of many dangers of which she was unaware, from costly revision procedures to surgical scarring. Now, even as she's still paying off the debt from her initial breast implant surgery, Casey shares her story with college students on the Extreme Measures Tour. That's a campaign geared towards positive body image.
I thought that by 18, your breasts were done growing. My breasts are actually the same size that they were with breast implants. So I started growing, between the ages of 19 and 22. I honestly feel I'm still growing. I would tell people just to wait a little bit, wait on their bodies.
For many young women, growth continues into their 20s. For Casey, it was both physical and emotional. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN, Washington.
The same-sex civil unions bill is passing smoothly through legislation in Connecticut. On Wednesday, the Connecticut House of Representatives passed the bill after 6 hours of debate. According to the Connecticut governor, she will sign the bill once it reaches her desk. If the bill is passed, Connecticut will be the first state to voluntarily set up civil unions. Another state considering passing a form of civil unions is Oregon, whose Supreme Court will rule today on the validity of 3,000 marriage licenses that were issued to gay couples last year.
Coming up, we'll tell you about a new craze hitting the Valdosta State campus.
And Eddie Dowdell joins us with some interesting news from sports. Stay with us.
At our high school here in Seattle, Rotary Club supports a program called Computers for the World.
We rebuild older computers and then personally take them to places where people can't afford them.
Computers for the World is one of many Rotary programs that rely upon volunteers of all ages from the community.
It's my way of making a positive impact on the lives of others.
It's a great example of the power of volunteerism.
You should volunteer. The world is counting on you.
It's springtime in the forest of the black-tailed deer. The young male is feeling playful. It's time for tag. The female flicks her ears. Her way of saying, "Catch me if you can."
The waters of America flow through many lands. Anywhere along the journey, polluted runoff can flow into the water. We can protect our waters by planting conservation trees in the country and in our towns. Go to the Arbor Day Foundation website, arborday.org. See how to plant the right trees in the right place.
Plant a tree today for all the world to share.
To protect your land and the waters of America.
VSU students and faculty, be prepared. The campus is getting a makeover. News 11's Carey DeBeaux tells us more.
Many students have noticed the beginning of what is being called the pedestrian campus in front of the library, where there's now grass where pavement once was. This is going to be a trend, according to Vice President Jim Black.
It is the hope and intent of the folks who came and did for us our master plan. It is a vision of Dr. Zacharias to make the campus into a completely pedestrian campus, and we will begin by making the central area of the campus pedestrian, by creating very appealing walk paths, by installing beautiful shrubbery, places to sit, places to think and chat. And our plan is generally to sort of radiate that out from the center of the campus.
The pedestrian mall, which is part of the pedestrian campus, will cost just under $1 million. It'll start on the Blazer Boulevard by West Hall and go from there, eventually ending up in Palms Quad. Many of the different fixtures that students can look forward to are gazebos and fountains and many places to sit and relax or walk and talk with friends.
All of us are constantly thinking about ways to make our space. This is a living, learning space, right? So most of us think that the learning takes place inside a classroom, and that's true, but many important things take place outside the classroom as well. And it makes a difference how you feel or how I feel as I exit one building and make my way to another.
Students will not have to worry about a tuition hike to pay for the pedestrian mall. It will be taken out of the $2.6 million budget.
The hallmark building of this campus is west. So it seemed logical to us and to those professional planners and engineers to whom we have been speaking about this, that we begin in the center of the campus around West Hall, our signature building. So the two areas around West And sort of the central portion of Blazer Boulevard is actually where we will start. And that is virtually, and perhaps literally, the center of the campus. So each year we will create some additional piece.
Wondering about the parking lots between West Hall and Nevins and West Hall and the Biochemistry Building, those lots will no longer be there. However, those who do need parking spaces close to West Hall will not have to worry, since there will be new parking lots added at the front of the building. There's going to be another great addition to VSU's campus. A wall will be built along Patterson along the front of the campus to help with pedestrian traffic going across Patterson Road. So students, you may not recognize your Valdosta State University campus come next fall, since all of these changes will be happening over the summer. For VSU News 11, I'm Carey DeBeaux.
Emergency workers will soon find it easier to locate cell phone users when there is an emergency. The Lowndes County Board of Commissioners has approved the second phase of Wireless 911. This upgrade provides the Lowndes County Emergency Center with a more specific location upon calling 911. Currently, they can track down a caller's location by 51 square feet. The new service will be more accurate. To pay for it, cell phone users will chip in an extra $1.50 per month starting in September.
For years, the only way for those to remain in contact with friends from high school or college has been phone or, more recently, email. But I decided to go into the VSU library to find out the latest on staying in touch.
The phenomenon that has been sweeping through Valdosta State University campus is known as the Facebook. Basically, an internet yearbook that connects students throughout the country. Since the inception of Facebook on February 4th, 2004 by Mark Zuckerberg, there have been 2.1 million students online in over 500 universities across the country. In a week's time, over 1,200 students at VSU have logged on to Facebook, forming over 700 groups. Why has this become such a craze?
It's changed how I've interacted with people I graduated in just less than a week. So I think it's been a good part, and with over 1,000 people on it already, I think it's really growing, helping even community of on campus.
Well, I just signed on tonight, and I think it's cool because there's a lot of people in here that I know from home and from down here.
Do you feel like in maybe 5 years, you'll be able to keep in contact with these people through Facebook?
I guess we'll find out in a few weeks since I graduate in May, so we'll see, I don't know.
With the number of students here at Valdosta State University on the Facebook, I decided to look in and see how many friends I could get. Excuse me, miss. Do you have the Facebook?
Yeah.
Would you like to add me as a friend?
Sure.
That's one more down. Only 3,000 more to go. It's not uncommon to be walking around campus, especially the library, and find someone looking through their Facebook. For those of you scared to join the Facebook community, it's rather easy to find friends. Let's see if I can find one now. Excuse me, miss, do you have the Facebook?
Actually, I just got it.
Would you like to add me as a friend?
Sure.
Don't forget to join my group as well.
Okay.
So don't be the last person at Valdosta State University to join the Facebook.
For those of you that are interested in signing up for Facebook, log on to www.thefacebook.com. All you need is the college email address to register. And don't forget to add me as a friend. Back, Eddie Dowdell joins us with sports. But first, here's a quick look at your local weather. Stay with us.
Okay, ready? 1 zip my point. 2 zip my point. Yes. 3 zip.
There is a better way to have fun with history. Visit americaslibrary.gov. Log on, play around, learn something.
5 zip. Your serve.
Noise. There's more of it in your life than you'd think. Everyday sounds, from household appliances to traffic. Even a crowded restaurant can hit 85 decibels. That's the level audiologists know can cause permanent hearing loss. So keep an eye on your ears and visit ASHA.org, the American Speech Language Hearing Association.
I am the port in the storm.
I am the line in the sand.
I am the enforcer of the sea.
The United States Coast Guard, issue and prepare your orders.
We are the defenders of the homeland. We are the shield of freedom. We are the United States Coast Guard.
Heed your country's call. Join the Coast Guard or Coast Guard Reserve.
Welcome back. Eddie Dowdell now joins us for sports.
Thanks, Chandler, and I'll be sure to add you to my Facebook. It's the off-season for basketball, which also means it's time for rumors to start flying. VSU head men's basketball coach Jim Yarbrough has been interviewing at a few Division I programs. Early this week, Coach Yarbrough was one of the 3 finalists for the Virginia Military Institute opening, but quickly found out that he was not chosen. Jacksonville University, though, has had a great amount of interest in the Blazer coach as athletic director. Allan Van Lander contacted Yarbrough immediately. The two of them have a history together, as Verlander played for the Bowley School, which is in Jacksonville area, where there were as assistant coach at the time by the name of Jim Yarbrough. This should not come to a surprise, as Coach Yarbrough has brought success to VSU with a 97-42 record in 5 seasons. It's not the first time that rumors have centered around Coach Yarbrough, as it was once rumored that he was in the running for the College of Charleston opening where he once assisted. Early this year, in an interview, News 11 asked Coach Yarbrough about that situation and why he decided to stay at VSU.
The next coach, you know, if College of Charleston came knocking again, I don't know at this point with what we're establishing here that I'd still be interested, but it would be easier to follow that person. So that was, my heartstrings said one thing, then logic kind of said another, and I kind of sat back and waited to see what would happen, and it was obvious it was going a different direction. I was glad to take my hat out of the ring and say, hey, I'm staying here. Even if they do get interested in me all of a sudden, I'm fine, and I want to continue to build right here. And it's been a good decision. My family's very, very happy, and we're having some success here, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Pitcher Nicholas Kitchens delivered 6 strong innings, and Ryan Krumchek had 4 hits, including his 3rd home run, to lead the VSU baseball team to a 6-2 win at Flagler yesterday. The win evened the season series with the Saints and improved the Blazers' record to 22-16 heading into this weekend's crucial GSC East series against North Alabama. The first pitch for Saturday's doubleheader is at 1 p.m., and Sunday's game starts at 1:30. In softball action, the Lady Blazers completed its trip to the West Florida coast yesterday with another doubleheader split. This time at Tampa, the Spartans won the opener 7-0. The Blazers took the nightcap 5-4. Elski Ten Hoop went the distance in the second game to pick up her 10th win of the season. This weekend, the Lady Blazers will compete in the GSC crossover tournament.
Thanks, Eddie. It's interesting to hear about Coach Yarbrough.
No problem.
It'd be a shame if he left. Stay tuned. We'll tell you about the Education Awards ceremony.
If you give someone a fish,
You feed them for a day.
Teach someone to fish.
You feed them for a lifetime.
Give me a fish, and you'll feed me for a day. Teach me to fish, and you'll feed me for a lifetime.
Through Volunteers of America, you can help change lives in your community.
For a free exercise guide for folks over 50, call 1-800-222-2225.
VSU will hold an Adults Back to College seminar next Thursday. The meeting will be in the University Center's Magnolia Room. The seminar is targeted at people who have been out of school or college setting and are interested in earning a college degree. There will be representatives from various VSU offices to answer any questions. To reserve a seat, call 245-4378.
Also on campus, the College of Arts and Sciences will host its 11th Undergraduate Research Symposium this Thursday and Friday. The symposium lets students present their original discoveries of their research to the Valdosta State community and the public. The Research Symposium covers a variety of topics from the sciences to humanities. Each department head will give awards and certificates for the students participating in the symposium. It's taking place in the Biology Chemistry Auditorium.
The College of Arts held an honors ceremony yesterday to acknowledge students within the department. Students from the departments of Arts, Communication Arts, and Music were honored for their achievements in academics and contributions within their major. Several faculty, staff, and parents came in support of the honorees. Some faculty members received awards for their contributions within the program.
A tornado uncovered a Florida man's drug operation. 41-year-old Jeffrey Crook has been charged with the possession and manufacturing of cannabis after his home was hit by a tornado with winds up to 112 miles per hour. Police and emergency crews found 2 to 3 feet marijuana plants while they were looking for victims in the debris. The operation consisted of 54 plants that had a street value of $8,000, along with lamps and hydroponic equipment. Crook was not at home during this time. That's all we have for this week. I'm Chandler Stewart.
And I'm Kevin Allison. Make sure you tune in next week, same place.